Hey everyone, Kaz Pierce with another one of my deconstructing pour painting experiments. So I started with a really dirty cup. As you can see, it's really made up of just all the end bits of all the pours from the day. I have no idea even what a lot of those colours are that's in there or how they got there. Some of this paint's been scraped off the bench top and put into that cup. Very dirty. So the idea is to flood the canvas with colour and then pour with white. I'm trying to reverse things, turn things around and see what happens when you start deconstructing some of the processes that we use. Now I know the processes we all use tend to be highly effective for us and we get good results. So this is just playing. And what's remarkable about this dirty cup is how many strong colours are actually revealing themselves as the paint stretches, because you would think that paint that's kind of been sitting there for a while and has been made up of so many additions to the cup would be really turning to mud, and this clearly hasn't. I've got that beautiful scarlet couple of ribbons of that and that beautiful dark jade kind of green that's come through, and at this point it's actually looking quite good. But here I am about to distress everything by adding some diluted white to see what kind of happens. So there you go, the point of no return. And then I thought, well, maybe some of these colours are looking a bit kind of bland and maybe not strong enough, or there's not enough contrast. Let's see if I can add some purple. So this purple that I have, one of the original bottles of pour paint that I bought, is just a really vicious paint. It's just that kind of pigment that is super strong. I mean, right now it just looks black, but it's actually purple. Must be a very lightweight particle in that pigment, because it does tend to just come to the surface and take over. I mean, we've used this paint quite a bit and we've gotten to where we just know to just do a tiny bit, and even then you can still see it's still looking like black. We've even stretched it out, we've lost quite a bit over the edge, it still looks like black. And you can see just how diluted the white is. I mean, it's pretty much the only thing that's moving, taking the purple with it, and the purple's just risen to the top and floating on top of the white now. We've got a bit of movement there, but that's all because the white is pushing all of that other paint. All the stuff either side of the canvas pretty much finished moving and hasn't shifted that much with all of this new tilting that's going on. So I'm not sure with this process yet that I'm really getting the look that I was hoping for. I think the look I was hoping for is that you would have a high contrast, very strongly coloured background, like a pour painting, and then you would add a very diluted white over the top. And like I said in my previous video, or a couple of videos, is maybe the white just isn't diluted enough, but I was really hoping that I was going to get the white over the top of all the colour, and the colour, all those bands of colour, the ribbons of colour, would actually come kind of through the white and make the white look really interesting and look like it had all this texture and all this beautifully shaded colour through it. I don't know that I've quite got that. And this purple, the other thing that this purple paint did is it did bizarre stuff with this white. It's kind of almost curdled where it's kind of touching that white, which is kind of interesting but kind of weird. Don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, so this was kind of super interesting to put together, and you can see that compositions really changing as I'm just kind of adding more and more paint. I think this is probably the last little bit of my dirty cup that I have, which is really just predominantly the purples that were at like the bottom of this cup. And just following the lines that the paint has already decided are going to create the composition, kind of working with what I've got on the canvas. I mean, I could have put that paint anywhere, but I wanted to work with what was happening. So it has been a really interesting result. I did in the end, as you can see through the middle of the white, I did get some interesting colours starting to come up through the white, but still not sure that I'm at all where I want to be with this idea that I have. What was really nice about this though was learning to kind of stretch those bands of colour so it is going to look, you know, like curvature of a planet, like atmospheric bands of swirling gases and clouds, and which you see from all of these beautiful NASA photos of the planets and whatnot. Don't know what planet this would be with all that mulberry and whatnot, but a very interesting process. So more experimentation required. Please check out what I'm doing on Patreon, as apart from the pour painting, I have another whole ilk of art that I'm exploring, which I term interpretive art for clients. Super interesting, so please check out what I'm doing with that on Patreon. And thanks very much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel and you'll see me on the next video. Thank you, bye.